Okay, folks, this is the crew tonight. A mugshot. News alert.
Beware.
Debbie had to look like I did it and I don't give a crap.
Look at this. Welcome, everybody. Check this out.
It's like, what now? Wow.
Welcome to the Lynn and Scott Show. I'm Lynn Serrano, and you are, we're in for it tonight.
I'm Scott Jones. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and of course, all of our great friends and guests and misfits and everything else that goes along with it. We all get together on Tuesday nights to share our ideas, our thoughts, and certainly to interact with you guys out there who are watching about different topics and things like that. So if there's ever anything you'd like us to talk about, please let us know. Reach out to us on Facebook and or YouTube, leave a comment. Let us check out. There's a book about me. Let's talk about that. Lynn, first of all, how you doing?
I'm doing. Thank you for asking. Everything's going good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, that's the show. Thank you.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
I love
fine.
this topic tonight.
That was
It's gonna
good.
be
That was
really
good.
cool.
Don't
Yeah.
try this at home. We're professionals.
Don't try this at home and go live. We were just all being silly. Yeah. Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Rex.
I was going to
Rex.
say that originally I thought it was Scott Schilling 2 hits, and I thought, well, Scott Jones would be interested in that.
No, we've got Scott Schilling. He's called Two Hips now.
2
He's
hits.
Two hipster.
That's right.
So Scott Jones,
hips.
you
We had
you
two
wanna
cock. Now we got two hips. All right.
you want to start off our show?
Yeah.
here?
Let's lay it out there. And if anybody had seen the before, we may have wasted our best material before we went on the air, but let's give it a shot anyway.
Oh my God.
Today's show is. Anyway,
I think
today's
we all
show,
have
we're
the
talking
side of
about the
silly.
silly side. Yes, the silly side. Is your life fun? I mean, we're always talking about self-improvement, getting to know yourself, achieving things, and certainly conquering fear. We've talked about a lot of things, but one of the things sometimes we forget to do is to just mention, is your life fun? Are you having fun in your life? Because I'm going to tell you now that as you move throughout your life, whether you fail at something or succeed at something, because I'm going to tell you now, you're having moments of you fail at something or succeed at something.
Somebody's
Because I'm going to tell you, why am I hearing an echo?
somebody has their
Something or succeed at something.
somebody's
Because I'm going to tell you, why am I hearing an echo? Okay.
I'm hearing an echo too.
I think it's Scott. Scott, what you're saying is repeating itself. Not that it's so conceding, but it's real friggin' annoying right now.
Right now, I hearing myself once in my own head is enough.
You're talking like you're
yes, so
in
it's not me
double land.
Anyway.
land.
That's right. Hey, twice the fun, just like two hips there. Here's the thing. I want to talk today about how important it is to have fun in your life. How big of a part of your life is it to enjoy yourself? How important is it? How many people are missing out on that? There's a lot of people out there. I never seen smile the whole time I've known them. I've never seen them smile, never seen them laugh. I've never seen them enjoy themselves or use positive words. I'm like, it is so sad. There's so many things to be joyous about and to laugh about. And, you know, being with a group like this, I mean, all of this brilliant thought that is gathered here on this panel. And I think we had some of the best moments just in some of our laughter on the other shows and even a few minutes ago. So that's what I want to talk about. How important is fun in your life? Are you living life on the silly side? You know, that's it. That's it. I think people need to have some fun out there. I think people need to have some fun. Don't take everything so damn seriously, people. Please. Please. Go ahead. Who wants to kick it off?
I'm sorry, Barry. Did you just
Who's
pass the
feeling
note
funny?
Did I pass my note to who?
Read us that note. Show us that note you passed to Steve.
We're private texting each other. I know.
Uh-huh.
Rex, do you want to start out?
No.
You're in the middle circle.
You're in the center square, Rex. Take it.
Yeah,
Let
there you
this
go.
was no.
Just say something.
think about, when you were a kid and how much fun you were having, or you went to school and you looked at your classmate and you started to giggle or laugh and you were called out on it and told, yeah, you can't do that, stop that. You passed your little note like Barry did to Steve there, and you got caught, right? It's like we all were fun at one time. For the most part, maybe some homes weren't fun, or some, institutions that we were in weren't fun, or whatever. But the point is that if you can recapture more of those moments when you were a kid, even if you're called out for it, if you can capture those and just have more fun and more delight and be more thrilled more often, life truly does become grand. But one thing I would like to start off with, and that is this. A lot of people think fun means, oh, I got to go vacation. I got to go do these incredible things. I got to go climb mountains. I got to have all that stuff, instead of having fun in what you're already doing. Because yes, you could do all those other things, but it's about where you are at and how do you increase the amount of enjoyment where you are, not trying to seek more things to add to something that, that isn't already fulfilling. So fulfill yourself right where you are.
Love it.
I love that.
Absolutely. Or
sit in the corner.
It's amazing. Nobody puts baby in the corner. What are you doing? No, I love that, because a lot of people think they have to go out and seek fun outside. And basically, if you can't have fun where you're at, then maybe where you're at isn't the place you're supposed to be. You should be able to enjoy your life no matter where you're at. So who wants to pick it up next? Hey, Scott's in the center. Let's go with Scott next.
Oh yeah, Scott.
Let's go.
That's okay. That's okay. This is so my jam tonight, and this is why. One of my mantras is, life's too short to be boring. And what I mean by that, I don't mean that my term for boring is what everyone else's term for boring is. What I mean by that is this. If there's something you want to do that brings you joy outside of getting on a mugshot, like we just were, anything legal that you want to do that brings you joy, but you're not doing it because you're afraid of how others will perceive it, or you're afraid of looking silly, then you're holding back on finding joy and having fun in your life. Why? So I used to tell my kids when they were going through that tender teenage age, and they're like, Mom, stop. That's so embarrassing. And I'm like, too bad. I'm having fun. Like, this is fun. I know it might be at the expense of you right now, but it's so fun. Like, let's have fun. Life's too short to be boring. So boring for you means if there's something you really want to do and you're restricting yourself from doing it because of other people and how it may look to others, then you're robbing yourself of fun that you could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Rex is up there. You go, girl.
Cha-cha.
Yeah.
I
love that.
I love that. I think she was talking to me, but that's beside the story. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Well, it's one of the reasons I got 2 hips down there. You got to have a street name if you're going to have some fun.
That's true.
I shared this. Lynn might have heard this last night, but so because I have 2 new hips, all of a sudden I can do yard work, which I never really enjoyed, but I did it anyway. And I was raking a bunch of leaves and a bunch of acorns, and I raked them into 5 piles. And I went, this is awesome. I can, use a broom and I can do all sorts. And I went, holy crap, I can't pick these things up. Now I got these 5 piles.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna upload that picture.
Well, I said, what the hell? Now I can't lift this thing up. So I happened to walk into the garage to get something to lift it up. And I saw my walker folded up there from my surgeries. So I went, perfect. I took my walker out in the driveway, opened it up, taped a bag to it, and I put all the leaves in that way. But it was just, I was laughing so hard at it, I had to post it on Facebook just to say, and I said, who said there's no ancillary benefits for having 2 hips replaced? Right? So it's just being goofy as hell.
I want to see the picture. Where is it, man?
I'm gonna have it for you. Yeah, I'm working on that right now.
So
That's
I
awesome.
posted it, and the comments were just ridiculous. I mean, just I can't believe you did that. Oh, that's a great idea. Wow, that was innovative. It's like, no, I was being a goofy ass.
That's awesome.
It was like, there it is.
Oh my God.
You know what? We're going to see people who recycle using a walker now with the bag, grabbing the recyclables in it. You just started a new trend, hippie shake.
Hey, what can I say? It was one of those things, but it came out of just having fun, being goofy and doing something like that. And it's been amazing, the comments and the different things that people are going, wow, that was, it was like, I was just being an idiot. I didn't want to get yelled at for having 5 piles and not picking it up, So I think that's, Rex, you're right. How many times have we done something silly or goofy and somebody has tried to temper that, slapped our hand or done something silly. I was talking to somebody today, and we were talking about sales training. And I said, some of the stuff that I teach is so elementary. And she said, like what? And I said, here's something that everybody can do to increase their sales. And she says, what's that? And I said, smile. Novel concept. Really isn't that hard, right? Just have some fun. If you don't like what you're doing, stop doing it. Just have a blast. I love doing what I do, and it's goofy as hell. Bob and I were talking yesterday, and Flo, we were just having fun at it. That's awesome. Why don't you just add to the human experience by being a nut? Okay, I'm done.
No, I mean, and we should inspire. We should just go with laughter when laughter happens, and we don't do that. But I'll never forget Debbie's birthday, and after Bob's interview, I laughed for 2 hours. My ribs hurt so bad. And I felt bad in the morning. I go, Debbie, you still like me because I was laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh. It was a moment of terrified, and then I laughed, and I'm like, snap out of it. This is serious here. You guys, my daughter called me today, and yesterday was her first day back to law school, and she said that she has a cold, so she was trying to hold back a cough. And you know what happened? I mean, she didn't fart. That's like, I said, what'd you do? Hold it in and fart? And she goes, no. Oh my God, that would have been worse. But as she was holding it in, and it came out anyway, and it made like a, and everyone stared at her. And she goes, I made a decision just to laugh and not be super embarrassed. And she said, a couple of years ago, I would have been so like embarrassed and feel like running out of the room. She goes, but I laughed. She goes, and I'm still laughing about it today. So anyway, that's I was just saying something.
There's some serious times, and my daughter would be laughing, and I didn't care how serious it was. I'm like, you know what? Let's laugh. And she would just laugh whenever she felt, sometimes not appropriate, but you know what? Sometimes you need that to break out in what's going on and
well, that's a good point that you guys are making too, because when you hold yourself back from laughing about something you think is funny or whatever, and I mean, if it's not someone falling or whatever, which can be kind of funny too. But anyway, like not permitting yourself to laugh. Why?
I get those nervous laughs. Like something's funny, but not funny. And you're like, yeah, everything okay? Yeah, one of those.
I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to giggle about it.
I'm just thrilled I'm so thrilled 2 Hips is getting gangster in the burbs, man. I love that. 2 Hips in the burbs, man. Go for it. The leaves.
in the 80s.
2 Hips. All right.
In the 80s, early 80s, throughout the 80s, actually, I had various hairstyles, and I had a dangle earring, and but a lot of times it was long, and and we do all these sales training and corporate trainings, and I had a partner who a beautiful guy, but as a person, but you could call him a mannequin in terms of his affect. He was very business. He was just completely, corporate guy. And so we would go in, and of course, all of our brochures had us looking really nice and everything. And then I would show up with this frizzy hair and a dangle earring, and they'd go, "What on earth has just showed up?" And I would start off by going, hey, look, I am your unruly, unconscious mind. I play games and I do weird stuff, and he is your conscious mind. And he'd say, and I'm, prim and proper and everything else. Then at lunchtime, I'd be the conscious mind and he'd be the subconscious mind. But the goal was to see if I could get out of my suit, out of my shirt, in the, stocking feet within, a half hour of the thing and get everybody to do the same thing and just have fun, because corporate people traditionally were so, especially back then. Now, they have the, more of the, here, go sit on a cushion, go sit on a bean bag and do some creative stuff. But back then it was really tight ass kind of stuff. So it was like, how do we loosen these people up and just have fun and then deliver whatever the training was, whether sales or communication or, different kinds of things. And I mean, it's something that I still do, I still am crazy. But the point is that at the time, it was almost like swimming upstream to try and tell corporations, look, we can have fun and we can deliver the goods and we can do all these things. So we kind of spring it on them, and just show up and be wacky. And it worked. It was really an interesting thing. When people give themselves permission in whatever circumstance they're in to just let go and not take everything so seriously and just have as much fun as they possibly can. It doesn't have to be raucous. You just have to be able to enjoy yourself and delight and just be freer to be who you are. Don't get on a quest of I must have fun and having fun so serious.
Right.
That's true too.
But it's almost like people shut themselves down from it on purpose. It's almost like people put up a wall and saying, I'm not supposed to be silly. I'm not going to let myself go. I'm not going to do that. It's not professional. It's not adult. It's not mature. And, like Mary Kay just said, what's that?
We got trained out of it as a kid.
But Mary Kay's the corporate world is still. Oh, yeah. We got trained out of it as a kid. That's not what adults do. Adults don't have that kind of humor. They don't laugh like that. Mary Kay said the corp world is still tight-butted. And speaking of tight buns, Steve, what do you think? You deal with
Mr.
comedy
Full
a lot.
Moon in the morning, full moon at night.
Do you find
it's a full moon every day in
shut
the world.
themselves off from that silly side of themselves?
First of all, I hate that word silly.
Go ahead, Steve.
Just saying. It's a silly word.
Because people would call you silly Steve.
No, yeah, please don't. I'd rather you call me an asshole than call me silly.
Okay, fair enough.
Now that's silly.
Now here's the thing. Today, people are having a hard time enjoying themselves, and we're living at a time. I believe that we need laughter more than any other time in the history of this planet. Technology is taking us away from ourselves. We don't know what it's like to rest. We're putting our happiness on hold because we're waiting for that day when we can finally be happy, when we achieve the goal, never realizing that a journey towards the goal is where your life unfolds, and that's the only place where you can be happy. When I give my presentations, I do a whole program and I urge people to unleash the power of their humor being on a daily basis. And everyone on this planet has a humor being within them. Unfortunately, most people go their entire lives never knowing they have this power. Your humor being is of your higher nature. It's a part of you that brings out the best in you when times get really tough. What your humor being can give you more than anything else is peace of mind and emotional stability. I know you guys know, when I did stand-up comedy, there were so many times when I was on that stage, and this was one of the main catalysts that made me realize that something else needs to be done with my life more than just stand up, because I realized that there was more to laughter than just the laughter. There was something was healing, incredibly healing about it. And there were times there could be thousands of people in the audience, and in the middle of me doing routine, I'm on automatic pilot, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I just knew, I was well aware that there are people in the audience experiencing challenging times of some kind. Maybe they were going through a divorce. Maybe they were having financial difficulties. Maybe they or a loved one were inflicted with some kind of illness. But for those few moments, when I was on stage, their challenges, their problems, whatever they were, didn't own them because they allowed themselves to take time out to laugh. Laughter is the pit stop in the rat race of life, and that it gives you enough emotional fuel and repairs to get back into the race again. But the initiative and the proficiency by which we allow ourselves to laugh comes from what I call your humor being. There are too many people today, even billionaires, that are putting their happiness on hold because unknowingly it's become part of their personality. They're waiting for something to happen for them to be happy, never realizing that happiness can only be experienced in the moment. It can't happen in the past. It can't happen in the future. But we get so caught up on that we don't realize how important it is to make that choice and enjoy yourself during the process of achieving the goal rather than waiting for the goal to be achieved. You're cheating yourself. You're probably cheating your family, your friends, your coworkers, or whoever else is involved in your life. And it's not a difficult thing to do. But if you're not aware that you're broken, you can't fix it. And a lot of people going through their lives are unhappy and they don't know why. And I'm talking about people that we would equate as being incredibly happy, but yet there's something missing because they're letting their lives pass them by because they don't know that they should be enjoying the process. Studies have shown that people who make a conscious choice every day to enjoy themselves during the process of whatever it is they're trying to achieve are more creative, they're more productive, they're able to bounce back faster from life's challenges, and they're able to find solutions to problems a lot quicker. And I would, having said that, I would wager any amount of money that most people, when they're writing out their goals and plans for the future, short-term or long-term, or even write out a list of things that need to be done on any given day, nowhere do they say to themselves and include, oh, and I'm going to enjoy myself today, regardless of what happens. So that let life consume them, and they keep saying, when I go on vacation, I'll be happy. When the weekend gets here, I'll be happy. When my kids calm down, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's so true.
Wow.
It's got to start with a little
list. To my to-do list.
Killer.
Boom.
It's got to start with the small stuff too, you know. We got to put ourselves on autopilot so that even when we have our down days, I mean, I fight depression every day, and sometimes I'm just happy that I took a shower, or that I did dishes, or that I put the clothes in the laundry, or that I wrote something, or I did something, and yet I place myself in places and, you know, and do what I can to make sure that I know I don't forget what it feels like to be depressed, but I also know not to stay there. And you've got to implement. You've got to implement. You got to implement places when you can, you know, like I had my alone time before I got in here, and I'm going to bring my A game, my mind to be open. Now we can have a great concert or something going on here, and there still would be people that are right here, not happy, not having a good time.
Nope.
And so it's a, you know, it all starts in the mind, and it all, you know, goes from there and stuff. So I'm just grateful for the things I'm going through right now. I'm really dealing with some health issues and aches and pains and more pains that I'm not used to. And I'm trying to get to a different level of getting used to my normal now. And yet I'm still grateful for everything. I make taking more time to meditate and be happy that my body's still functioning for me. It may not be functioning the way I want, but I'm happy that I can still do things. And Debbie's daughter helped with that too, because it's true. You've got to be grateful that, you know, with what we have, because most people don't have what we have. So again, you got to find fun and happy. I think Rex wants to say something. Go ahead, Rex.
Oh, okay.
No, you just seem like you wanted to say something.
I'm agreeing with you, but okay. There's a couple of really salient points in all of what's been said. One is, you know, that we put things off, you know, and everybody does. When I have the money, when I have the time, when I have the freedom, when I have this, when I have that, you know, that is, you know, I guess somebody could call it like whenitis or something, come up with a disease name for it, because, you know, it's always a different time, a different day when something will happen in my life will be better. I'm willing to bet that you could do an inventory, a research project on the happiness quotient of billionaires and millionaires and find out how many are truly happy versus those who are cancer-ridden, disease-ridden, overworked, stressed, going through divorce, mental illness, you know, suicide, drugs, whatever it is. Because the more that you have, typically the more you need to control, the more people, you know, they they tend to overwork themselves, and stress themselves out. They're not necessarily happy. They got money they can throw at problems, which other people may not be able to do, but that doesn't solve their inner self issues, And so, when we look at a lot of millionaires and billionaires and think, well, they're happy because they got money and they got a home, and they're not. Not all. Many of them aren't, or maybe most of them aren't. The people who are truly happy are people who are grateful for what they have right now, and who live in the present, and who are able to do the kinds of things. Like, look at Scott. I got 2 hips. I can do stuff. I can go out and rake leaves. I mean, to be able to be happy, to be able to do those kinds of things is truly what life is all about. And if you can't stop and just be present and be in that moment and go, God, I'm so blessed to be here now. Instead of putting something off for another day, life keeps moving. Time, if you want to call it, keeps going. And so if you're waiting for an event to happen somewhere, you may never get there. It's kind of like, some people go traveling but never make it to their destination. They either detour, they stop, they go home, or something interrupts them, in a different sort of way. So, just enjoy the journey where you're at. When you go to the grocery store to pick up your groceries, can you enjoy that? Instead of it being, oh my God, I got to go get, or you go into the doctor, if you're taking care of a kid or your pet or wherever you are, you got to go to work. This is what you need. All of us need to make fun and enjoyable and purposeful, so that when we get home at night, we're not just vegging out and having a cocktail and doing whatever we have to do to escape the drudgery of the day. So celebrate, make every moment, because that's the only moments you have. They're either dog shit or they're diamonds. I mean, we would come back to that, but it's truly a choice, and people don't know they have a choice, but it's truly a choice.
Rex, if you guys don't mind, could I just say one little thing here?
Yep.
And I have to, because it just tags on what Rex was saying. You guys know my brother passed away recently, and when he decided to give up and he told the whole family, hospice came in, and we just knew it was going to be about a week before he passed on. And I still went over there every day, and I spent a significant time with him. And he had an incredible sense of humor, and I'll never forget it. And just to tag on to what Rex was saying, I'll never forget. Now he knows he's going to be passing on soon, and we're watching the New York Giant game. And I walked in, I gave him a kiss on the head, said, "Hey, Mike, how you doing today?" And he goes, "Well, Steve, I'm dying. How are you doing?" So I sat next to him and I said, "Well, apparently I'm doing a hell of a lot better than you are." And we died laughing. I'm telling you, we were hysterical. And that's the gift of laughter. You know what I mean? And this,
yes,
it was so uplifting and so embracing. It's the greatest gift that God ever gave us. What good is a gift if you don't use it?
Yeah.
So can I interrupt for just a second and say that this is beautiful, because I see something in the chat and I think we should all pause to imagine it. Mary Kay said she learned how to twerk yesterday.
Yes.
Woohoo! Take a moment and visualize this.
Mary Kay, you need to teach me.
What? You go, girl.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to go to Barry now.
Okay.
Barry in the middle.
Barry in
I
the
think
middle.
that's our homework assignment. Everybody needs to learn how to twerk.
Next show, it'll be from the waist down.
Someone's not built for it. So,
funny.
so a couple of quotes I want to put on the table first, because it kind of anchors what was said by Steve and by Rex, which is one is be happy for no reason. We keep having attachments when we get a certain thing, have a certain status, have the relationship, have the car, have the job, then we'll be happy. But as Rex was saying, it's like, be happy for no reason. Be happy now because you can be, because happiness is not tied to anything physical. It's all inside. The second quote, which I love, which one of my friends gave me years ago, is life is too important to be taken seriously. Because it's only a temporary journey we're here for, at least in my viewpoint. So why not enjoy the journey? It's going to be fun being here. Because the other part also is a lot of us, as was said, are focused on the destination. And so we don't realize there's a bunch of roses on the side of the road we can smell on the way there. So that quote, like, stop and smell the roses, it means something.
Yep.
So take the time to enjoy everything along the way. I mean, I go hiking every morning up in the local hills, even during the rain the last couple of days. But for me, it's the highlight is seeing the nature that's around it, the ducks, the squirrels, the rabbits, all the different animals around. The only one that got me seriously concerned was when I saw a coyote running along the pathway, because they live up in the hills too. First time I've seen one in 2 years. But the squirrels are always thinking they're going to be fed, because people go and give them nuts all the time. So if I'm on the path, they think, oh, big person must be feeding me. I've got pictures of these squirrels. I put them on my Facebook page every day. They're just cracking me up because they're so simply happy about what they're doing. They're chasing each other around the trees. They're having fun. I mean, they're a model of what humor is like. Squirrels probably are the epitome of silliness in some ways. So for me, we can take humor into our lives, whatever we're doing. And it isn't necessarily about cracking jokes or trying to make somebody else laugh. It's about just being in the joy of ourselves. One thing I remember a friend of mine taught me, which is a physical thing, so we're changing a state, is that when we tend to walk around looking down at the ground all the time, we can easily feel depressed. It's almost physiological. Looking down puts us in negative space. Inversely, if we look up all the time and we open our body posture up, we can actually start generating more happiness in ourselves. So even if you don't feel happy, you can start causing it by changing your posture. So why be so serious all the time? I mean, the quote from the Joker and Batman: "Why so serious?" We don't have to be serious. We just choose it because it's a default. Yep. So if we put joy in place of that and have happiness be our default, wouldn't life be more fun?
Yep.
Can I jump in on that, because that's so beautiful? And the other thing is, if you remember Michael Keaton, the first Batman. Mm-hmm. Remember, he's was it Kim Basinger, and he's like looking at this hot lady, and he goes, "I'm Batman." We need to remember, that we are more than we think we are, and enjoy life.
I love that.
That was good.
I'm Catwoman.
I like that.
Hi, Bob.
I got it.
Go take your break real quick.
You can call me the Piddler.
I love it. B.O.B.
I think when it comes down to silly, I think we have to be sensitive to other people's level of silliness, because I see a lot of people trying to be silly, trying to be funny, when the conversation doesn't warrant funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a time and a place, and there's appropriateness. I think there's a sensitivity, a sensory acuity to the people around you. And also just realize that I think what I've had to realize is my funny isn't somebody else's funny. And so just because I think this is funny and they don't laugh doesn't mean it's not funny to me.
Right.
And so I don't need to be offended that they didn't think it was funny. I just need to realize that it was funny to me. Mm-hmm. And then we can celebrate that it was funny to me and be okay with nobody else laughing in the room. I think that goes back to that thing, what we were trained as a kid. Stop that. That's silly. Don't be that. Be a big boy now, whatever that is. But it also goes back to this whole thing of, if you're truly being silly and enjoying it, it shouldn't matter if anyone else is laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're doing it for them.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for you,
right.
It shouldn't matter whether anyone else laughed or not.
Daily life. I agree. And daily life. And that's Barry, what you're saying about internal happiness versus external happiness. That's cool.
I don't care. I was laughing for 2 hours and I still felt bad. If I was like, Debbie, don't take that personal.
I would never get upset with someone for laughing about anything. I really
on my deathbed, you guys can remind me of that time. And I'll be laughing. I'll be breaking a rib on my way out the door. That was hilarious.
We had a good time though through that. We bonded even more over. We were together like Zooming, trying to get this fixed for like 2-3 hours. It was my birthday. I'll never forget it ever.
I was trying to tell Bob and Flo, you guys can go now. No, we're getting a popcorn. We're
like, we're gonna make popcorn and watch
a drink, man.
Watch the show.
Oh, my red vine's out.
Yeah.
And you see, to some people this wouldn't be funny, and you guys don't even know what we're talking about, but it was something. Anyways, I'm trying to get Miss Flo in here. That beautiful Flo. It's so beautiful to see you guys here. We've missed you over the holidays. So welcome.
Well, Happy New Year. Thanks for having me. And Debbie almost stole my jam. jam.
You and the presence of you made me think of jam.
But let's check this out. This was her. No, not that kind of edibles, people. And I took that from your
a little bit
page.
of humor too. That's funny.
So Flo, I took that from your page, so you can't knock me.
Yeah, those are my puns. So
I love those. That's
love
awesome.
it. I love it.
So I agree with Bob that, just do you. And if you think it's funny, then just go with it. I remember reading Tony Robbins, and he had a story where he had just adult stuff, pile of messages to call back people. And he was just like, what can I do to make this fun? And I remember him getting in his hot tub and then making all these phone calls that he had to make. And I was like, gosh, just something so simple that it was like, well, how can I turn this around? I have to still get to my pile of callbacks. And what can I do in the meantime? I really wanted to get in my hot tub. So he did it. And I always remember that. So that kind of reminded me of, is your life fun? And when of this topic today, I was like, oh, I remember that Tony Robbins story.
Awesome.
And I try to always say, okay, when you're having a adulting part of your life where you have to take responsibility, it's like, okay, how can I make this fun? And I remember that story of Tony Robbins and Steve, I like how you shared about your brother. When my mom was going to with hospice and everything, my niece was putting chapstick on her lips, and she goes, okay, like smack, like that. And she goes, I got your hot red lipstick on. And my mom just busted out, started laughing. It was like that night when Lynn and Debbie we were with Lynn and Debbie, and we were just laughing. And we were like, what are you laughing at, Mom? Are you crying? Because it was almost to the point where she was in tears. And I said, are you crying or are you laughing? And she said, I'm laughing. And so then we were all laughing, and we couldn't stop laughing. It was so contagious that, and that was the last thing. That was the last part that she was speaking, was the laughing. And no, I am laughing. So I try to remember that too. Just to always take the last laugh. I mean, she took the last laugh.
Yeah.
And went out laughing.
That's beautiful. But I was just thinking of Tony Robbins. That must have been in the back days of being in hot water. Can you imagine? The phones weren't that sensitive. You could probably hear him boiling in the water.
Landline.
No. I'm going to try that next time when I have business calls. I'm going to call a client and say, "Yeah, Marianne, I'm naked in the hot tub right now." And
no, you couldn't say. You could just say, "I'm in hot water."
There are a lot of people who do that. They'll call you and you say hi, and they go, "Well, I'm in the bathtub." And I'm like, "Why did you tell me that? Why do I need to know you're in the tub?"
Well, it's better than saying I'm on the toilet right now.
Oh yeah, the alternative's worse. Yeah. Flo, I love everything you say. I don't know, there's a sweetness to you. Yes. And so you're so genuine. I love when you share. And you said something that really resonates with me that none of us have really mentioned. Laughter is contagious, and I love that. I love that. That just speaks volume. So don't be afraid to laugh. You might get someone else laughing.
That's right. Can I say something about that?
Sure.
Steve will know this because, being seated, doing stand-up comedy, or even having the experience of sitting in a movie theater or a speaker, proximity makes a huge difference. If you're a speaker and there's a dance floor between you and the audience, that's like the death of speaking, the death of comedy. If your audience, if you got one person over here and somebody over here in the middle and somebody over there, and you're trying to talk to a room, the laughter is not contagious. But you put everybody together, and they're all sitting together, whether they're watching a movie or a speaker or a comic, that laughter can be quite infectious. One person laughs and it gets everybody going. Yeah. So there is that contagiousness is proximity. So
well,
Lois?
You know, Rex, to add, I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
No, it's
All right. Do you know, adding to what you said, the first time I realized how really powerful laughter was at a friend's funeral many years ago. And he died a horrible death, and it was it was slow. And, you know, after the wake services and the funeral services, a lot of times people go to someone's house or they go to a restaurant and they celebrate. But this was a pretty solemn moment. But I noticed that there were corners and factions of people talking about my friend and the life that he lived. As a matter of fact, he was a comedian. And then people started telling funny stories about him. Okay. And everyone got together. Everyone else started joining in about how crazy he was and the things that he did. In the middle of all the laughter, his wife said, you know, I miss him and I always will, but I feel like right now, the fact that we're laughing and celebrating his life, I feel like a part of him is still with us and always will be. And her brother said, yeah, I feel like it's like he's trying to tell us right now that it's okay. I'm okay. You know, I'm where I'm supposed to be and life still goes on. In other words, we felt the spirit of my friend in that moment, and it was laughter that ignited that spirit. And it just made me realize in that moment that when you could laugh when someone passes on like that, laughter makes you realize there aren't really any goodbyes. There are just good memories. And laughter makes you realize that the spirit moves on and we all move on and turn in life. So why not celebrate a person's life with those moments?
Oh, I love that.
I mean,
I just always, you know, when I say the dog shit and diamond stuff, it's what's the alternative? I mean, if you're not laughing, what's the alternative? If you're not enjoying life, what's the alternative? And if you're good with the alternative, then be good with it. But if you're not, then go to the laughter, go to the joy, go to the, you know, the other side.
Yep, I concur.
Mary Kay, what a great guest she is.
Absolutely.
Mary Kay for the
So,
quote
you
for
know,
the podcast. You want to read that, Scott?
Seek out the happiness in all of life's crappiness.
Yeah.
I like
And
that.
Be happy, not crappy.
I like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Be happy, not crappy.
Be happy, not crappy.
I got to tell you something. Something I found a long time ago with my kids, especially when my son was born. It was my first time in sobriety, and I actually had some clarity at that time. And I remember when he first started laughing as a little baby. And anybody who's been around babies knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. When a baby starts to laugh, there is not a sound or a moment in life that is more pure and precious and joyful, as that's what it is. It's pure joy coming from a being who has not been corrupted, who has not been tainted, who has not been controlled, who is just experiencing pure joy. And I think that is within each one of us. It's not gone. It's just buried. It is buried under, I need to, I should have, I could have, I would have. It's buried under everything. The joy exists within us. We have moments where we can touch that, moments where we can let that loose, and more importantly, moments where we can share that with the people that we love. Life would be so much better. Steve, your observation was brilliant. Put there, enjoy yourself. Do it.
Yeah. Well,
music,
unfortunately,
games, laughter. Yeah. Just watching a silly TV show.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna do the last minute go around here. Wrap up. So Steve, you want to go first on your wrap up?
Oh, yeah, right. Tagging on to what Scott was saying, kids do have that laughter about them, but unfortunately, most adults stifle that in the children. You know, most adults look at a child in a serious moment and say, that's not funny. You shouldn't be laughing. And I thought about something, and I don't know if I can prove this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. When you reprimand a kid, when a parent reprimands a kid and you see that kid smiling or sort of like giggling, the parent's immediate response is, how dare you laugh? they don't realize that that child intuitively knows that his humor being is the only saving grace that can help him to cope with being reprimanded because he disappointed his parents. That kid is smiling because he innately knows that that's going to make him feel better. And what does the parent do after that? They reprimand him even more for acknowledging a higher part of himself that's helping him to cope with the embarrassment that his mother and father are putting him through in front of everybody else.
Wow. I never thought about that.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe the parent is stifling the child's laughter genes and humor genes, and we all have them. I don't know if I can
because
prove
it seems uber disrespectful if you're reprimanding your child and they come back with a
exactly.
Because you feel like, what? You should be taking this serious.
Think about it. That kid really wouldn't be laughing. He's intuitive. There's a higher part of him. The God part of him is going, I'm embarrassed here. I disappointed my mother and father. I have to feel better. The kid automatically knows that laughter makes him feel better. And that's what he's doing.
True.
Or she's doing. Just saying.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, I just quickly, and this would be my final thing, to piggyback on that. I mean, Norman Cousins, decided, when he was facing an illness, to just watch videos in order to laugh more. And so laughter is healing and optimism, it promotes health and well-being. So for the child or anyone to respond by laughter, it seems like that is the healthiest response. And then people go, stop laughing, don't laugh at me. So I agree. But you know what? You can use it to transform, because when you laugh, you're freer than anything. It's an involuntary response. When it gets going, it's this kind of thing that you can't stop. If you've ever been in those laughing jags with another person, you just can't stop the laughter. So when somebody's laughing, I mean, this would be great for teachers and parents and everybody to take what Steve just said. That is, if the child is being reprimanded or whatever, and laughter is the response, there may be a really wonderful way to encourage that release and that let go, and then say it's okay, to feel what you're feeling and enjoy those feelings, because you're transforming what was a difficulty into something that's no longer a difficulty. So yeah.
That's awesome. I know what I'm going to say.
Oh, well, okay, we'll go.
I just wanted to say before I forget, wouldn't that be so funny if I would tell the school system, when the principal comes on, they do their morning announcements, they go out to every classroom, just laugh. Just be cracking up and just do it as like an experiment to see, like, are the teachers going to be in their rooms? Because they always ignore the announcements because they tune it out. What if they started their day out with laughter like that? I don't know. I'm going to see if they'll remember. Like, crazy lady, we're not doing that, but we'll see. I'm gonna ask them.
I like that.
You remember back in the 70s, they had that little bag, the laugh bag. Yeah.
Button and it's like,
in India, they have laugh houses. People go to work. And then they come home from work and they go to these laugh houses and they do nothing but laugh. They watch little videos that are up and they just laugh. Even if there's no one saying something funny, they just start laughing. And it's supposed to be.
That's what you call those places.
Well, in the 70s and 80s, we did laughter meditation in the morning where we would laugh for an hour.
There you go.
That's so cool. But anyway, so what I wanted to say,
in
addition to that, look, I'm not done yet. I just said I am going to encourage the school system to do it and see if they do it. But anyway, they'll probably think I'm crazy, and that's fine because I know who I am and I'm fine with it. But anyway, I wanted to say when Flo was talking about Tony Robbins and things that he did, it's so funny. I've never read his book. I clearly know who he is, but when the kids were really young, and I would try to get them to do their chores. And who wants to do that? I don't really want to do it either. We'd want to go to the pool. And I would set a timer and I would say, okay, let's see how many of our chores we can get done in 20 minutes. I'm going to set the timer. Okay, go. And then we'd just scatter and try to get everything done. And then typically they'd want to finish what they were starting if they weren't done in the 20 minutes. It was a really good motivator until they caught on to it. And then I was setting timers for myself. And no one was really doing it, but
and then they thought that was funny.
But I'm trying to say, in life, when you don't want to do something and you're putting it off, I've always tried to find ways to get myself to do it and enjoy it in the process. And then I remember I worked for the auditor for several years, and there was a girl, and we had like piles of paperwork we've done, and we needed to file them. And I looked at the girl that worked with me, and I said, "You have a pile, I have a pile. Let's see who can file them the fastest." She's like, "I'm not playing your game, Debbie." But I did it myself. I was competing with her, even though she wasn't competing with me, just to like get myself motivated and enjoy what I was doing, because I loved my job. But the worst part was filing all these papers. And lastly, just today, I was downtown. I ran into a dear girlfriend of mine whose husband passed away. And I had I'm actually going to a funeral tomorrow. Another girlfriend's husband passed away, but this was her husband passed away a couple months ago. And I ran into her, and she said, there are moments, we had a big conversation, but the point I want to bring up is there are moments where I have joy and I'll laugh. And then I tell myself, oh my God, I'm having, like, I just had a happy moment. I can't do that. I'm missing so much. I mean, her heart is completely broken. But she did say, I know I need these moments. I shouldn't feel guilt over having happy moments. I just miss him so much. So when we talked through it, she said, I know that's what's good for me, and I need to do that. And I'm choosing to think about the 30 years we had together, all the memories we have, and appreciate that. And find those and appreciate these happy moments. So for our listeners or whoever may be listening in the future, if you lost someone, or you just don't beat yourself up about having good times without them. That's what they would want. And you're still living. So you have to enjoy it. And I know I got to tell myself that too. Losses I've had, it doesn't feel good. But we have to live, and we have to live for the moment.
You honor them by enjoying your life.
Yeah,
that's what they would want. You're right.
There you go.
That is so cool. That is so right.
Just today that happened.
Wow.
Miss Flo, can I put you in there? What else?
Excellent.
Wow.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Flo.
You're
Appreciate
so
it.
beautiful.
Can't follow that now, Deb. So you did steal my jam.
Oh gosh, look at me. Slow jamming. Debbie's taking it away.
So just glad I'm here. A lot of fun. What a great topic today. So thanks.
And you're
everybody.
beautiful. You're a light in this room, and I love that. We're all lights, but I just love your light too. So thank you for being here. Missed you guys, both Bob and you were missed through the Christmas busy holidays. So
we're back.
Scott, you want to help me move the next one into the spot? My mouse is giving me a hard time here.
Scott,
I feel like we're in a game show here.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna put Hipster. I got Hipster in there now.
All right.
There we go.
It's been great.
Who hit? What's up, brother?
Scott, you gotta fix your internet. Anyways.
No, I got 10 times faster yesterday, and it still doesn't work. I'm just not. This platform drives me nuts. Anyway, it's about just having fun and enjoying life and realizing that it's a choice, and taking that choice to have fun, to say funny. It's so amazing because people are in such ritual of, so how you doing? They don't really care. It's just what they've been conditioned to say, right? So it's just fun to say something back to them that changes their state and gets them laughing or does something. I mean, I answer the phone, Bob Donnell fan club, president here, right? Stuff like that. It's goofy as hell, but people go, God, I just called just to hear that I have a fan club. Yeah, well, it's a small one, but I'm here. So, but it just changes the state right away, and you can just have some fun, and it doesn't have to be so damn serious. Everybody's, I had a text the guy today. I said, hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you sometime this week. And he goes, man, I'm so overwhelmed. Everything's on top of me. I can't do it. And I just went back and said, how can I make your life easier? What would work? because that's what he needs right now, or at least that's what I perceive he needs. So, I mean, just have fun, be a friend to people and have some fun with them, joke, goof off, be silly. It's like, what's going to happen? You're going to fall over. They're going to eat you? I don't think so. Not me, or it's going to take them a while. So, it's just have a good time.
It gets you through the day. What you're saying is so right. Just lighten up.
There's two work gets to be work at some point. It does get to be a 4-letter word if you don't have some fun with it.
I was at a restaurant today and the waitress came by and said, "Enjoy your meal." I said, "Don't tell me what to do." And she didn't get it. She didn't get it. Everyone at my table was in tears.
You up.
She 100% spit in your food.
All right, Barry.
So a couple of things just to leave on the table. I dropped some quotes earlier, but a reminder, you have a choice between being heavy-hearted or light-hearted. When you get upset, depressed, frustrated, wounded, angry or stuff, it's heavy-hearted. It's like you're bringing yourself down. And we're talking about being joyful and having fun and enjoying life. That's light-hearted. And frankly, I suspect you enjoy life a lot more when you are light-hearted. So you got a choice, light or heavy, you decide.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, my final thoughts on that is figure out what makes you feel silly or happy, and then do that before every meeting, before every call, do that. That's why I call Scott Schilling every morning and every night, because he answers the phone that way. So
I get it.
if he did that, I would literally want to make that call every morning, right? And so I think just knowing what it is, if we have it as this is what we know will make us feel silly or happy, then have that on standby at will to be able to play at any time.
Yeah.
So I thank you for sharing that, Bob. This all reminded me many times when I did my lingerie and pleasure parties and stuff. Everybody I'd take, the couples or each person, we'd go in a room and we'd start ordering. And what I hear after from my hostess and everybody would say, "Lynn, everybody just wanted to be in there with you." I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Because they'd hear you laughing." And I mean, it wasn't like after one person left, it wasn't like, "Is anybody else ordering?" They're like, "I'm next." They would literally fight to get in there with me. And then it dawned on me, I said, "Oh my gosh, I hope they don't think I'm laughing by saying, 'You're ordering what?'" And then just laughing really hard. But so yeah, it was pretty funny. Laughter is just something that sometimes at inappropriate times, for just your mind to settle down for anxiety, it has helped me a lot. One other funny thing I wanted to share real quick was my dad. He had to have quadruple bypass, and we had to take him from Brunswick, Georgia. He had to go in an ambulance to Jacksonville because they couldn't do what they had to do for him. And so they said he had to watch a video, and they wanted me to watch a video of what to expect with a quadruple bypass. And my dad speaks Spanish, and he had a Spanish nurse. And I said, "Dad, you need to watch this video," because I already had watched it, and he needs to be prepared. He's like, "I'm not watching it." And I told the nurse, I said, "Look, my dad's freaking hard-headed." I said, "Can you get in his head that he needs to watch this video?" And she goes in Spanish, but this was so funny. She goes, "Look," she closes the door and she goes, "Look, they're going to go in there." And she said this in Spanish, so he could totally understand, not miss what he was saying. Goes, "Look, they're going to just take you open, and they're going to open your chest like this. Okay. And they're going to put you down." And I mean, she was so graphic. And she goes, "Do you understand? You need to watch this video so you know what's going on." He goes, "Yes." And she leaves. And he goes like the exorcist. He goes, "You know, that was very scary. She scared me." And I kind of just laughed because I was like, I wanted her to get him to do it, but she was so graphic. I was
went in there.
He's like, "That's very scary. I watched the video, But again, it was funny, but not funny. But it made him watch the video. That's all I could tell you. She was so graphic with him. So anyhow, but that's what got me through the whole thing is him turning his head so fast and go, "Oh, I'm scared." Like, now you're taking it serious. Anyways, Jonesy there.
I'm just I want to thank everybody. I'm sorry my service here. God bless us of Florida. Talk about jokes and humor. You want jokes and humor? Get Florida internet. That is a joke and it's humorful. It's funny.
Well, you know
so
what?
I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be gone next week. So thank you.
And I'll have somebody be my host, which will be nice. Anyways, you guys, thank you as always for being here. We had Steve Rizzo, Rex Sikes.com, Bob Donnell, Debbie Bettendorf, Flo Mina, who has great jam, Barry Selby, and Scott Schilling, the two hips Miss Wonders over there. So thank you everybody for being here. Two hips.
Hooray!
Yay. So just be silly, just be goofy, and just live
humor
life the
being
best you
to
can.
the rescue.
That's right. Love you guys.
See you.
Keeping me